report to the clock.
Okay. 7:04, I'm gonna call to order the Town of Andover Board of Selectmen special meeting for Thursday, April 24th. Our first order of business is pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible. I'll move on to public debate. We had a special meeting the other day. I would ask everyone to keep this non-talking individuals. Please be nice, their employees. Kathy Rozier.
Kathy Rozier, 232 Bears Swamp Road. I would like the Board of Selectmen to read in the letter from the chairperson of the Commission on Aging. I think that would be important, relevant to the people that are here and have not received that. All Board of Selectmen members.
Recording in progress.
So that would be helpful.
Oh, you want to read it right now, or can I get it after public please? I don't have it right with me, so.
So the purpose of this meeting is to discuss the contracts of our foreman and our community center person. We take one at a time, or do both of them, or how would you like me to approach this?
You're in public speak, you do what you want.
Oh. Well, as I said at the budget meeting, our public works department is a little top heavy. For many years, we operated with 3 public works people. Now we have 5, that has occurred in the last several years. And now we have a $90,000 foreman and 4 guys making $50,000 to $60,000 a year. We've spent probably close to $1 million on vehicles, backhoes, transportation, and other equipment for the public works, including their $250,000 boom flail. And I find it to be a little bit difficult for a small town like us, which has no population growth, no additional roads, to address these level of salaries. They're very salary friendly in this town. So I would like to speak, now Jay, our foreman, wants a 2-year contract. Is that what we're looking at?
Yes.
Yes, a 2-year contract. How much per year? Approximately, I'm not gonna,
$96,000.
this year.
No, I have it written down. $94,694 in 2024, and a 3% increase each year.
And he's looking to what you did. Town administrator was suggested a 2-year contract.
That's the request now, just keep going.
Yeah, that's the request. Okay. Well, I think it's far too generous, you know, and I think that if our foreman, who's maybe having issues with his retirement at the state and some changes, he's pretty well paid. If he thinks he can do make a better deal somewhere, then I think he should. Could be a free agent. So I would like to say that I think salaries. I tried to make the motion of the budget hearing, which didn't pass, unfortunately, to reduce the salaries of public works, and I will do so again. I don't. I think that we're approaching a situation where it's becoming unaffordable. We have seen our budget go from 12 million or less than that to over 13 million. We have. I don't see the roads being that much better. Maybe there's been things I don't see, but I'd like to speak in. I would like to see a more modest contract for our foreman for the public works, maybe a 1-year deal. Now, onto the community center. And correct me if I'm wrong. She's currently making 43,000, work 26 hours a week.
Let's say that's let's say that's accurate, go ahead, keep going.
Okay. So, and she's on target to be given, increase to what is coming next budget? 47,000?
Let's say you're accurate, keep going.
26 hours a week, what are her hours? Does she work 9 to 2, Monday to Friday, what are her hours?
Yes,
That's her hours?
you actually got something correct, yes.
Beautiful. And then we have a part-time person. There are very, very few activities that warrant that low salary. Okay, a woman's making 35 hours an hour. And now, granted, she does make doctor's appointments for people and take care of that there is a value in that, but we also, and that came out at the budget meeting, we are our assistant assessor getting a $6,000 stipend for being the senior municipal agent, which in most towns, the community director takes care of. So we got some double dipping going on, we have high salaries, and I would respectfully submit that that our community director is underworked and overpaid. And I think that it should be taken into consideration that what kind of programs has she brought forth? Did you really brought forth any new programs? Do you have an answer to that, or you're just gonna?
I'll answer that question, Jim.
Anyway, I think that our salaries are far too generous. I think both the community director and the foreman should be looked at closely, and I'm opposed to any significant raises.
Right, appreciate that, yes, Michelle?
Yes, my name's Michelle Vale, I live at 189 Lake Road. I like to talk about the contract that Jay has. When we were just 3 town people working in the bus yard, it was very difficult if the tree went down to get them to come out. If there's snow removal, but now that we have 5, I have easier access. I can pull my bus over and call or text Jay and say, bus 2 is on Windrush and there's a tree down, or bus 3 is here, bus 3. And he'll send somebody over, because if the bus can't get through, the kids can't get picked up and go to school. And I really trust what Jay says if he tells me it's gonna be a bad day. I think 2 years ago, we had the rain was going sideways. The bus company told me, you need to go out. Jay's like, no, you can't go out. The rain is moving sideways, there's too many trees down, and we stood put. And then they wind up canceling school. I don't have a degree or know the specifics on how towns run, but I know since we've upgraded to 5 people, the town roads seem to get more access, and I know they're playing catch up for the last 10 years of trees not being taken down prior to trimming and so forth. For the community center, I know it's brand new, I didn't know the specifics, I know somebody needs to run it. I know that pretty soon I would like to have gatherings there. I don't know the specifics, and I know that if the town knew, hey, you can have a gathering there, somebody has to put it together. My mom's a senior, pretty soon she's not gonna be driving. I have to make a decision to call the town to have somebody make those arrangements for her to go. So I'm not sure what her salary is, but if it's in the budget, I believe it should stay, and if she's working hard, I am not the one to judge. I'm sure if I had that job, like if my job was at state, nobody thinks they make enough, but I believe if you're doing the work and you're working hard, you should be paid for it.
Do they have, I'm just talking.
That's okay. Sure. I want to speak first to Tessa's position. She's basically doing a bang-up job. She started when Kathy Pelosi retired to put on a much more varied schedule for all the seniors. And now she's putting out a very nice newsletter on a monthly basis. There are a lot or a variety of kinds of activities that we can go through. We have a person who moved into Sue Losey's house, fortunately, who's a very good yoga teacher. And there's a whole bunch of us who take it and can't get up off the floor, so we do it in a chair.
So there's chair yoga and there's a special class to help those of us who, if we fall and get on the floor, cannot get up by ourselves. But that's a Wednesday class, and then there's a Vinyana type, I'm not sure what that is, I think it's a more strenuous type of yoga. And this is her very well put together newsletter that she puts out, and she is on track to provide the kinds of activities that I was taking advantage of in Bolton. Because anybody from Andover could go to Bolton, and they didn't even charge a one-time membership. I was also going to Vernon. And I paid $15 for a lifetime membership. And they put out a program too. It has a lot more print in it because they've been going 25 years, both of those senior centers. And she's on track to grow the way they have already grown. We now can get a haircut here, and for those who don't drive, that's a big help. You can get foot care here now. All of these are new. Every month there's a new addition of activities. And Dawn may not be ready for this yet, but there'll be a time when we'll have card games there and other kinds of activities that you can't even imagine yet because you're probably not. You may have visited senior centers, the people who built this, but they have no idea what it's like unless you actually enroll and go there. There are many, many kinds of presentations, some to help seniors just with interaction and socializing. They have activities in the big centers too that provide the physical help, like the yoga does. And social activities where people come for dessert and they have a speaker or a piano player, and it's just a night out for seniors who are housebound. And it's really a known fact, at least by United Healthcare, I have my senior insurance, that these kinds of activities extend senior citizens' lives and make their lives more interesting because they're living alone, most of them. Not all, and that's true of any of the centers. And they also she is also helping us to work up to day trips, like we did go to the Hartford Flower Show, and that was very much a positive thing that happened, and we had a full bus when we went. So I can only say that she, in the time she's had me, she's been operating without the help of Kathy Palazzi, things have really started moving in a very good direction there, and we're gonna end up like both. And there are other things that we need to do though, and we need to stop having the door open with a key. And in places that I've mentioned nearby, well, I'll talk about Vernon in particular. You pay $15 for your lifetime membership, and you get a lanyard with your picture. You take your picture, and outside the door, there's no use of the key. Everybody who goes there has a lanyard with their picture on it. They hold it up to this reader, and the door clicks open. You go inside, close it, and it's locked. So there's no risk, because they have about 5 outside doors. We have 2. It's something we gotta think about both for the people. But I can only say that she's doing a wonderful job. She didn't bribe me to say this. I have been trying all the different things. When the other senior group, and it was always a mystery on the board of selectmen that I got to, what did these 2 groups do? There was Kathy Palazzi and the dinners, and then there was a group that had movies and bingo, the Young Heart. Well, I never went to Young Heart, so I guess I wasn't as senior as I am now. But now that has been melded into the activities that go on here. And bingo and birthdays is one of our really comprehensive events, and it's a lot of fun. And I never thought I'd be the person to say that, but I've been enjoying it tremendously, and I've had Bolton and the Vernon one to compare it to, and she's on her way to be right up there with the good ones. And they've been in business 25 years. He's only been doing this for what, 6 months, and part of that 6 months, the dinners were still done by Patty. So it's
Thank you.
great.
Two things, Kathy, can you sit there and please email me the letter that you agree, or if you have it? All right, and Don, they're offering free haircuts at the senior center, I think you might wanna take it. Come on,
So you're not free, but you're writing it down.
I'll. Come on,
We got to a meeting without you giving me a zinger, I wouldn't feel right.
you should. Okay,
Did you have it?
I did not see it on my timing now.
Can I say one more thing about
No,
grants?
yeah, I already called your name, let's go.
Kim Boss, 45 School Road. I've been working at the center for a few months now as the assistant. I do approximately 10 hours a week. And what I see going on there is that we're a work in progress. We're just starting to get like evening programs going on. And that's something that the community wants, and for people of all ages. So we have a lot of ideas out there, we're recruiting volunteers. So hopefully we'll see a lot more of everyone in town show up there, and we're always open to new ideas. Different things you wanna have there, we're thinking like a family bingo night, movie night for kids. We're not gonna be free babysitters, but yeah, bring your kids along, and we've got a lot of things we want to get going. I just sent it to Jeff and Jack.
Yeah, but, Cameron, I'm sorry, are you done?
I am done, thank you.
Cameron, that was wonderful, you get the first gold star for the night. Bill DeRoche.
Bill DeRoche, Marathon Road, and Andover. So I want to speak on behalf of Jay. A lot of people may or may not agree, but the roads before Jay were a campus. There were a few roads in town, especially one the old administrator lived on that were pretty good shape, but the north side of Route 6, excuse me, I'm talking right now, there was shambles. My road hadn't been touched in over 8 years. Now, I know that every road in town has been addressed since Jay's been in office. He has a plan that shows each road, the condition it's in, what needs to be done, when it can be done. It's not just, well, these people are complaining over here, so we'll go to that road now. He's got a plan. He's got a plan for the equipment, looking out 20, 30 years of when that equipment needs to be replaced. Not like, oh, the truck should be bad, how am I gonna find the money to replace that truck? There was a 30-year plan looking at when, how old each piece of equipment is, when it needs to be replaced, what the life is left on it. He is a professional road crew or director of public works. The roads are in the best shape, they're lined every year, the brush is cut back every year, the mowing's done every year, the gutters are cleaned out, culverts are cleaned out, the signage is up to date, the trees are coming down. We have never had such a good, and I've lived here for 41 or 2 years now, we've never had a good road crew as we have today. I love what we have with Jay and the road crew that we have today, so I would hate to see anything happen. So let's put it this way, if his contract wasn't renewed, I call it being fired. Why would you fire a man in the job he's doing? I'd love to know that.
Yeah.
I'll talk after. Sir, you're the only person here.
Andreas Willis, I'm actually kind of new in town 2 years, I live on Bear Swamp where the neighbors. Couple of things I would say, I have 2 little kids and we're actually thinking about doing some birthday parties here at the community center, so we wanted to know what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. Invite some of our my son's little friends as well from Discovery Zone, Columbia, so we're planning on doing that. Also, Eric did a nice job taking down some trees that I put a request in that was endangered, Bear Swamp. I was pregnant at the time, I was afraid that if it comes down, we're stuck there, especially if you go to labor, so that was taken care of. Really nice job, thank you. Regarding the roads, I know that the school is eating our lunch on the budget, and that's why we can't get to those roads. And another thing is, somebody making 47,000, that's peanuts. I make 4 times as much, and I have trouble paying my bills sometimes, especially with the utility bill, that we give away 30% of our money to people who pay that bill and all. So $47,000 peanuts. And, another thing is, I think, the crew, I see them cutting the lawn, stuff, they're doing a great job, you guys are doing a great job. This town is small, it doesn't need to grow like landing and stuff like that, people live here for a reason. They're in the suburbs and having acreage, that's why I moved here. So, and the taxes are not terrible at all. I live in town, so it affects a lot more than that, and that don't live as much as they do here, so. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. First of all, I want to apologize to the people online, because I'm not sure how well you hear us. But I'm gonna also give you the opportunity to speak, so if we can move through it, Jerry Cremay, you can go first, because you're in the upper left.
That's me.
We're not
Can
gonna
you
hear
hear?
you. Yes, go ahead. Jerry.
Okay,
Great.
great.
I just
I
was
just
there to
was
listen and.
Jerry,
You're on my computer.
if Shannon's in the other room, ask her to put that on mute.
Which
How's
one's
that?
on mute?
I did.
Okay, can you hear this? Hear me without the echoing?
Yeah, you're better.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the meeting that you're having, the work that you do, and the time that you spend. It's difficult with the things that aren't involving payroll or employees or contracts. Unfortunately, you're faced with the choices of handling those items. I have complete faith and trust that the Board of Selectmen will make the right choices.
Keep going. That's it? Okay, Diane Gray.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, again, thank you for having this meeting, both making it available for Zoom so that people like myself can join in. And it is a little difficult hearing, but I'm working on it. But I did want to have a few things to say. One is in support of Jay Tuttle. I think he does a great job. I'm loving the fact that so many trees have been taken down. We hardly lose power at all over at our place now. The road work is great. I love the snowplow sign out in front of the Public Works Department. I think it looks very professional and it's a good look for Andover, and I think it makes a very positive statement about our town. Good job done there. I was delighted with the cleanup of the Public Works garage that Jay undertook. I mean, that was a disgusting mess over there, and now it looks good. It's very professional, and that's the kind of thing I like to see come to Andover. I think we're lucky to have him, and I'm happy to hear that he's postponing his retirement so he can continue serving the town of Andover. I'm sure I wouldn't have made that same decision. I think retirement is the best job I ever had. But I applaud him for doing that and continuing to serve the town. I think that's wonderful, and I hope that you do plan to extend his contract. As for the director of the community/senior center, I again support Tess. I've spoke to the Board of Selectmen about this at the last meeting. I think that she was given a gigantic job, given a building that was half completed with no policy, no procedures, part-time position, and getting this up and running is a massive job. And not only dealing with the building, but grants and programs and just the transportation issues alone is a gigantic job. The luncheons, the newsletter. I think that you've given her a big job to do, and I hope that you continue with her so that we can get more things done as time goes by. So again, my support for both of these people. And my final comment is I'm not quite sure why we have public discussion, a public meeting about the contracts for these people, why this is happening. So that's just my 2 cents and leaves me confused, but I'm easily confused. So thank you very much once again. I appreciate the time you all do for this?
I think
Who are you asking for? Oh.
No, Joanne, I didn't get to you yet. Shannon Lott.
You know, I'm impersonating Anne Creme, right?
Yes, we know that.
Okay, Jerry and I got confused with our computers. Thank you. The only thing I want to say is not so much to the contracts, but the fact that I would love to see our community and senior center have a lot more community events. I just don't, I see a lot of senior events, wonderful. But I really think it should be a community center and would love to see a lot more community events for families, for younger kids, especially as the summer is coming up, be offered through the center. Thank you.
Kimberly Person,
And nothing right now, thank you.
Joanne Hebert.
Thank you, Jeff. I just wanted to say a couple things. I know I said a lot at your meeting last week, so I won't repeat myself. No matter what happens tonight, I just want to tell the Board of Selectmen that I really appreciate this process and the time that you are putting into these two important contracts in our town. Like I said, went to the meeting last week, had my say a little bit, gave a couple of opinions, and then all of you met for 2 hours in an executive session because I was out in the hallway. So I know that you have done your due diligence. You're taking, both of these important roles so seriously with all the questions that have come up. So I really appreciate that. I also would like to just say, and I hope I had to leave after that 2 hours, so I know you were still in executive session, so I know it went on and on. The other thing I wanted to say is that because these two positions are, kind of management level positions, I appreciate that you have individual contracts like this. I think that's important. I don't think these type of positions should ever be in a union because they do manage union employees. Or, I know that the senior center, community center director is so new. So that's a little different. But again, I like the individualized contracts so that you can pick and choose which, things or perks you want to put in each one. That being said, I know that community center director position / senior center also is a part-time position. So I would like to see maybe a few, and again, this is just my opinion. You're going to do what you want and I respect it. Maybe a full-time position would have more perks because they're a full-time person. If a person wants to work part-time, maybe a few less perks in that kind of contract that you guys are drawing up. I'd also like to just put in my 2 cents that I think they should be yearly and not 2 years. Again, your decision. You all are meeting and making the decisions. I just think people work well with a year-to-year position. That way you get to kind of maybe make some changes or whatever year to year as you see fit as well. But again, thank you so much for this process. Thank you for inviting the public into it. And I'm glad I logged in tonight. I'm hoping after your executive decisions, discussions, we get a little bit of feedback of what you're planning on doing. So good luck.
Good one.
Did you say Louise?
I did.
Okay, thank you. I'm here to support basically both Jay and Tess. I'll keep it short and sweet. Jay was very, very helpful for me personally when I came into town and I started doing my new driveway. And he was very effective with the contractor I was dealing with, very professional and very helpful. And I would hate to see him go. As far as Tess is concerned, Tess has been very sympathetic and helpful and cheerful and very resourceful. The way she deals with seniors is very, very professional and also very down to earth, which the seniors love. As far as the software, I would love to see her get that eventually because that would help out a lot for her to do her other duties. She is always leaving after the 2 o'clock for the most part, after the 2 o'clock for a lot of these events that are happening there. She never gets out the door any earlier than that time frame, and she's happy to stay. I'm sure she'd be happier if things were a lot easier for her. And as far as and she also has a very open door policy. Anybody can go in there and talk to her. And as far as the community part of the community center, we would love to see more volunteers. And when I say we, I'm a volunteer there, and we need more. We need not just seniors, but we need those in the community, mothers, fathers, whoever can help out, and, you know, give the examples of what can be done in the evenings, and maybe help set it up and even help do some of it. It's a part-time thing. I mean, it's very part-time, and she and everyone else would welcome, you know, whatever information they could give. So, and again, supporting both Jay and Tess. I hope they continue, and thanks for your time.
Thank you. I don't know who is the owner, unless that is Dennis O'Brien.
Yes, that is me.
Dennis, I'm not letting you talk.
You're not.
Yeah.
That's probably
No,
smart.
Do you have anything you want to say?
No, not at this point.
All right, thank you. I covered everyone, correct? Anyone on screen? Good? All right, I'm gonna read this letter. This letter is from the Commission on Aging, drafted by Elaine Buchart. I'll just read the whole thing. And so attached to the minutes from our last Commission on Aging meeting, April 21st, last 2 months, there have been a lack of support for needed software to run and report on all that goes on at the community center, community senior center. As the Commission on Aging, we need to express our support for this software and anything necessary to have a successful center. As you will see from the minutes, there are several activities and services that go on at the center thanks to Tess Browse and Kim Hawes and all the work they have put into it. We all highly support Tess, Kim, and Roberta and praise them for all the work they have done with the resources they have. On a personal note, I will not be able to attend the Board of Selectmen meeting on Thursday because I have a CERT meeting and Sustainable Connecticut meeting at the same time. I can't be 3 places at once. I wanted to express my shock at the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance efforts to impede forward progress being made for our seniors and the community at our new center. I don't know what the ultimate agenda is, but it certainly doesn't appear to be successfully supporting the center. We all worked very hard for the center to exist, and cutting off funds necessary for things to move forward is a step backwards. The attacks on our hardworking, well-intentioned staff that support the seniors has got to stop, and the money needed to run a successful center needs to be found. The infighting between the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance needs to stop. The boards need to meet together to carve out how to work with each other for our town, not against it. Elaine Buchart, Chairman of the Commission on Aging in the EDC. Okay. So that concludes public speaking.
Did I say one more thing?
No.
Yeah, I see one more thing, please.
No. I mean, I'm sorry, it's 7:37, I love all of you, you all had your chance. I didn't even cut down them off. Right, I didn't cut Julio. These poor people are sitting here waiting for this meeting to happen. I apologize sincerely, not because you guys are talking so much, but yeah, we have public speak at the end. But their employees, they need to get the heck out of it, right? So we're gonna move on to item 3 on the agenda, discuss and act upon the proposed Department of Public Works supervisor contract. Jay, would you like this in executive session or in public?
We can do it in public.
Okay,
We're in public so far, so.
let's go, it's in public. We all have a copy of this contract.
We do, but I just wanna make sure he understands that we might have questions about
They lose things like things that are gonna be talked about.
Yeah, might talk about your dollar figures, they're in the contract, it's all public record, anyway, you have a problem with that?
Nope.
Let's go. Okay. We all have copies of the contract, correct? We read it. The contract that is being discussed for 2025 and 6 is exactly the same as 2023, with the exception of section 3 that we need to discuss, and section 8, to remove the annual increases that could be given, because in the past, we gave annual increases, it was in the contract in section 8, that if we felt his performance generated it, it would give him the increase rate, just like we give to all non-union employees. So, anyone have questions for Jay?
I do.
Let's go.
Okay, so in the first year, you were hired at 85,000, right, for 2 years. And it said no additional overtime compensation, but then there was a 7.12% increase between this contract and your next 2-year contract. Because you jumped from 85 to 91,052. And then if we go from this contract to the one that's proposed, it's another 7% increase. So I'm just asking, these first 2 contracts were most definitely 2 years. Were you given a raise in between, like year 1 and year 2 on this $85,000 contract? And how, okay.
So,
Well,
I can actually clear, Eric sent us an email with all that information.
I did not get an email. So I don't know when that was sent, but I did ask you about, not you, Eric. I did ask you, Jeff, about that last week.
So-
And then this one, so it just looks like it's 7%.
No, it was a 3% raise most of the years, and then 2 years, you got 4%, just like every other employee at that time.
But they're 2-year contracts, right?
Correct, but what ended up happening? I'm there. I thought I sent it to everybody, he sent it to 2 email addresses, I did not get it, you're correct, I asked for it.
I check mine all the time, so.
I did.
Jeff asked for it, I
I
responded.
did ask for it, so.
But please in the future, you just send it to the board.
Okay, so I'll
So you
read.
want everything you asked
I'll read-
for to send that?
No, I will, listen, I will read off for you, Jay started with us in 2020, he started at $85,000, and he got a 0% increase.
At the end of
At the end of the
21.
first year, into 2021.
Right, because he was hired December 21st, 2021. Or 2020, I'm sorry.
2020, so 85,000, and into the first year, we didn't give him an increase, and then in the next budget year, we moved him up 3%, we got him to 87,550. In 2023, that budget year, he got a 4% increase, and all approved by the Board of Selectmen. 4% increase, 2024, he got a 4% increase, it moved him up to 94,694. And the 2-year contract that's in front of us is for a 3% increase, which would move him to 97,534.
Okay, so this first year, he went from 85 to 87 because.
Well, not the
In
first year,
middle,
the second.
no, the
It's
second,
2020.
started the second year. He got to 4%, okay? Okay. So then, when he started this second contract in 2023, where it says,
Section 8, let's just read section 8.
okay,
So if you have the previous year's contract and you read section 8.
performance evaluation annual review, and if they can increase the annual salary, okay. But can I just ask one more question?
You ask every question that you want.
Okay, because then the start of the 2023 contract is at 91,052, so why would that be?
So in.
Because you
when
said
we
you
went through the budget cycle, so
Okay,
if you sit there and you go, in the beginning of the contract that was signed 11/20/2023, which was retroactive to July of that budget year.
right, July 1,
He was making 91,052,
okay,
right? He got a raise of 4% that year. Approved by the Board of Selectmen, because again, I was gonna read the contract language, so everybody sees it or hears it. 11/23. Section 3. Section 8 says performance evaluation, section 8, the Board of Selectmen and Town Administrator shall perform an annual review of the work performance of the employee. And if they so determine, they may increase the annual salary of the employee beginning with the annual budget of the town. That's in section 8, so. Eric would prepare the budget, we would talk about non-union employees' salary increases at that time. And at that time, last year, we gave Jay a 4% raise because we deemed his service to the town valuable enough to give him that increase. So if I take 91,000. 91,052, and I multiply it by 3%, that gives me $2,731.56. That was Jay's increase. I add that back to the 91,052. And I get a total of, oh, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. I'm an accountant, I did that wrong, it was 4%. 4%, thank you, everybody. Yeah, I know. Oh, you might, I got you. There you go. 105.2 tons, I don't think it works.
$3,642.
Yeah, 94,694.08, that was his compensation. So 4% raise, 4% raise. That's what he was on the books and in the budget for 2024. So the request for 2025, 2026 is a 3% raise. My only concern, Jay, honestly, the only thing that I have that I'm concerned is us here at this board agreeing to 2 years on the number. The reason why I was always left blank was because we always have to reevaluate and go before the budget number.
Yeah.
That is my only concern about this entire thing, because all my questions to you would be, do I think you're doing a good enough job for the community in the position that you're in? I would say yes. Does everybody else on the board think that? I don't. But the only thing I have when I read his contracts and compared what Eric has drafted or the town attorney has drafted, the only changes were really section 8, they removed the annual increase information, and you sat there and said compensation was a 3% annual increase for both fiscal years. That was it.
Yeah, they're a 2-year contract.
2-year contract.
Yeah.
Normally in our situation, you can't really do it. Guarantee 2-year contract with guaranteed raises because we have to go through the budget process with the board. That's my only issue. Right? I agree. Yeah. And how we do I sit there and look at you and say, I was giving you the 3% next year? Yes, I would. And I will. Would I put it in front of the board of finance? Yes, I would, but there's differences in that forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Understood.
That's the only issue. For me.
Another thing I mentioned is the public works contract is going to be up next year. And those increases are not negotiated yet. So we don't know what those increases are gonna be, because I would like to keep, whatever they're getting, keep it somewhat in line with what public works in general is getting for increase.
Yeah, and I don't think we necessarily follow the contract with Jay. You would know that, but I don't think
It was 3%, this year's 3%.
This year's
For public works.
Okay. Does anyone have any, I'm on board, anyone here have any issues related to his performance and what he does for the community?
no,
Okay,
Do we want to just make this a 1-year contract with 3% and we do it again next year?
Jay, you don't have a problem. And the only reason I'm asking is because I can sit there and tell you it's my vote, I would give you the 2-year contract. But I'm gonna have someone like Joanne Hebert sit there and say that you can't do that because you need to go to the board of finance and do X, Y, and Z,
Yeah, understood.
right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I would tell you, Jay, you're gonna get your number, but we have to, and I will go to the town attorney. What can we do in this situation, Dennis O'Brien?
I don't understand the question. What are you saying? A 2-year contract or 1-year contract?
Correct. Do we as the board of selectmen have the ability and the right to give him a 2-year contract with a guaranteed raise?
With, you mean because the Board of Finance hasn't approved it, as of this point?
Correct. We need the board of finance to approve it?
Not at this point, no. Board of
No,
Finance is,
okay.
you're dealing for, the Board of Finance is dealing with this year's budget. You know, they're not gonna deal with a future budget. I don't believe,
Okay. All right.
but I don't see anything wrong with a 2-year contract.
There's nothing wrong with the 2-year contract. We just have to change section 8.
I mean, nothing wrong legally.
It was previous.
You still have under the charter, the town has lots of power, even under this contract, to terminate the contract under certain circumstances.
Okay.
And probably if the Board of Finance didn't fund the contract, you could make an adjustment. This contract would allow you to make an adjustment.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Eric.
So, per charter, the Board of Selectmen sets pay and compensation for non-union, non-elected positions. That is your right. The only thing the Board of Finance can do is choose not to fund the position. But they can't tell you what, you know.
They can't tell us not to.
Correct.
All right,
They
thank
can
you.
reduce the overall salary budget or salary for public works if they so chose. That's within their purview. And you would react how you would react, whether it's renegotiate a contract or lay off an employee.
Okay, and well, my concern is if we put a number in there for year 2 with the contract negotiation coming up.
Will that impact?
Yes, yes.
So given that we already have an agreement for a 3% raise with the other union, I believe. It's pretty unlikely that in the next year, you're gonna be able to negotiate anything other than that with this union, because both union contracts come up 2 years apart. So I don't see that being. I don't see there being a whole lot of choice with that unless there's some other concession, you know, you're giving as a town. Unless you wanna take it to arbitration, we can't.
I mean, listen, I called that out just from a technicality standpoint. I wasn't really worried about the 3%, honestly. I personally think Jay. Listen, we don't have a lot of money as a town in total. So let's everybody understand, we don't have a lot of money, but we stretched our budget on the town road work side pretty well. We are much more organized than we were when I first got on this board, and I do attribute a lot of that to your activities in your organization. Do I want to do certain things better? Sure, I would love to in a better fashion. I would love more of a forecasted, this is what we're gonna do, or this is where the guys are at. All of those things that I would like as a manager. But
And understanding that takes time, it takes time away from, because you know, a working
It should be.
a working supervisor.
Okay, listen, I don't think we need to waste a tremendous amount of this time, unless you wanna make a statement. You don't need to make a statement, don't make a statement. I have no problem opting with 2 years, Jay. If you don't wanna, you wanna do a 1 year, then it's up to Jay whether what he does. I really don't have a problem with the way the contract is drafted, based on what Eric really is saying is that we're gonna have a public works position, a director in here. Whether we choose to say we're gonna give them 3% today or 3% in January, to me, doesn't really matter. And I know what you're saying, I called it out, I mean, when I read the contract. I was like, section 3, 2026. I questioned that.
So, yeah, but before we just made it arbitrary, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and I would support if we made it arbitrary next year. And we decide on our budget season next year. I would not guarantee the 3% next year. I would support it this year, but not next year. Because this is the budget that's going to vote in May.
Well,
That increase is already in.
This increase is already in.
Yes, that's what I'm
We're
saying.
really talking about
The following.
the fall.
Correct. Because
I
like you said,
did
if
call
it's-
it out, Jay, this is on you, this is up to you, right? I did in my head go, that's potentially an issue. But I would also sit there and say that what Jay is doing is a little different than most years in that he's trying to position his 2 years for a final 2 years. Is that accurate? Are we gonna have to be looking, or you might still say?
After 2 years, no, I plan on retiring after 2 years.
So we need to look. So this is the end of your.
Yeah. You know, I mean, the part-time may be a thing, but, yeah. Like for sure, and who knows what 2 years is gonna bring, but right now, that's my plan.
with the old verbiage in there, have you ever been shortchanged rates?
No,
Yes. The first budget
well, the
year,
first,
Yeah, but he was hired in December.
yeah,
It was
6 months in,
6
he made
months.
the decision that no raise was appropriate, and I think that was the wrong decision then. Cause I think he was doing enormously better than his predecessor.
I just so everybody understands, I mean. You know, in this public, you know, publicly, so I did take a cut in pay coming to Andover. I realized that, you know, knowing full well what was, and, you know, I had hoped. You know, that my work would, performance would be, you know. Show my abilities and what I can bring to the town, what value I can bring to the town. You know, a lot of what people read and see, and even in this contract, talk from, you know, Monday to Friday. You know, and the on-call, if somebody calls me, well, that might have happened in the beginning, where somebody would call me. You know, if something were happening, but I'm on call 24/7. I have a pile of keys, I have a phone. When I go on vacation, I bring my work with me. There's very rarely have I gone on vacation and not taken a phone call. And passed it along to my crew, to the town's crew, something came up. If I give. They don't even want my phone just because it's ringing off the hook all the time. That's why I try to limit who has my number. So I respond in the winter time, you know. You're working 20, 30 hours, well, I only, you know, I'm there for the 8, and then the rest of the time is on me. That's part of this job. This is what this job requires. All the towns have these type of positions, and I'm in a little bit of a unique situation because there's not too many towns, because it is a working supervisor's position, so I'm filling in when somebody's out. I perform work when I can. And chip in a lot of, and I do a lot of the odd jobs myself, if I can do that. And I have to take care of the management end of things at the same time. So there's a lot that goes with this job, it's just not what is read on this piece of paper, you know, on the contract. So, there's more to it, I think. I just kind of want that to be understood.
Okay, anyone else have any questions for Jay that we need to get addressed? Then I'll make a motion that we approve the contract as drafted with a 2-year contract with 3% raise for both fiscal years. Further discussion? All right. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay,
I would support with the original verbiage and then
all right, make the motion.
how we want to work it.
Make the motion that you wanna sit there and go backwards on the contract to the verbiage from the twenty.
It's not going backwards, it's just using the same concept
Same,
that we
same
use for
section.
section eight. To modify, to go back to the original verbiage.
Why don't you go with a 1-year contract? Why force him to sign something when he doesn't know what he's gonna get next year?
So,
All right, make that motion. It's 1-year contract with 3%.
propose 1-year contract with Jay Tuttle, Don Andover, 3% raise in the first year. 1-year contract.
Are you gonna second that?
I'll second.
Darrell seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Before you answer that, is that acceptable to you, Jay?
If it's accepted by you guys, depending on, do I have, time to think about it?
Sure. Go back to, yeah.
You have to go to June 31st.
Contract with the sergeant, there is no June 31st.
Right.
You get your- Let's sit there and see how. Right. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstained? Fine. You're opposed, you're slow. All right, 3-2, Jay, right now, the Board of Selectmen is willing to offer you a 1-year contract with 3% increase, it gets you to 94,000. No, what's it get? 97,000, what's the number?
It's not, it's not saying I already voted for 1 year, I don't feel that we should be promising something 2 years out. We've never done it in the past and I don't wanna do it now.
97,534. Okay, do we have anything else for Jay? Jay, please, thank you for taking the time to come visit with us.
Thank you.
All right.
Your time.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna take item 4. And we're gonna move on to item 5, discuss an act on the community and senior center director. You can leave that one. Dennis, would you like this in public or an executive session?
I guess everything is all in public now, so.
It doesn't need to be Dennis. Nothing. Whatever calls to be like.
I have nothing to hide, so let's do it in public, it'll be fun.
Okay, we pretty much had an executive session, we just added it in case you wanted it.
So, yeah, no, I think it was, yeah, thanks.
Okay, so discuss and act upon the community and senior center contract, director's contract, so, well, the current contract for the senior center director is a 2-year contract. So it doesn't expire in this cycle. So I guess my question is, what do we want to discuss?
Well, I just think that what, I mean, that exactly, so just some of the feedback and the information that we've received. I just don't think that the senior center has progressed to where it should be after 9 months. And the programs that are there are programs that were in place. And the new programs, there's no Facebook, certain things that were brought up during the public session of our meeting last week. There's nothing has been done, or we just haven't heard about it, so. I just don't think that we should be with a new community/senior center after 9 months. Almost 9 months, it's not quite 9 months.
Okay, so where are we?
Well, that's why I made the motion to extend it after 6 months, because I wanted to see. I mean, I realized that she started with a brand new position, with a brand new center. And I thought it was fair for another 3 months to see where we had progressed.
Okay, and we had a discussion at the meeting that we held last Wednesday. At length, is there anything additional that we need to deal with?
No, I think-
Other than holding her accountable to what we talked.
Yeah, I thought we had a very thorough review.
Okay. Anybody want to do anything? Anybody?
So I move that the employment of Tess Rouse, currently serving as Community and Senior Center Director, be terminated immediately.
Okay, is anyone gonna second that? All right, further discussion? I have no idea why we're doing it, why we're bringing this up, but that's not for me to sit there and deal with, anybody else? All right, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make a point of this, that all further types of meetings like this, and anything that this board wants to do, be done at our regular meetings. Tess. I can't sincerely apologize more.
Me either, that's, I'm shocked.
I'm apologizing profusely. All
Three
right,
people are taking the director away from the town.
okay.
And when does that end? Immediately?
I have no idea, Tess.
Okay.
I will sit there and get with you tomorrow, because tomorrow's Friday, right?
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday, but she said immediately, so, I can go pack my office tonight. Kim, you're gonna be by yourself tomorrow, sorry.
Okay. Well, we're not moving into executive session. That's bothers me. We're gonna move on to public speak. Kathy Roach.
I cannot believe the three of you who are elected to represent the community could behave like this. I hope you have very good grounds for doing this, because she should sue you, because you null and void her contract, and unless you've given her grounds for firing her, you put the town in a bad spot. She has started working with very little, and as you heard tonight, she has done so much for this community. I don't know who you want to put in charge over there, but I'm sure you have an agenda. Because the three of you are thick as thieves. You're not representing people, you're just sticking together and not doing the right thing for the people. But in 2 years, the people can vote you out, which is what they need to do. I'm ashamed that you're representing the Board of Selectmen. And with Jay, again, he has a year contract. Hopefully he'll be here a year or two, but again, you put the town in a bad spot. We finally are moving forward, and for some reason, you don't want that. I don't understand it. You heard, I don't know how many people spoke in favor of it, but you just aren't representing the taxpayer of Andover.
Ms. Michelle.
I agree with Mr. Rozier. Cost of living goes up. Since COVID, everything's gone up. We need somebody like Jay, I know we're keeping him, but we need somebody to help us run our town, our roads. And Tess, I really don't know her personally, but during COVID, I volunteered with the seniors because nobody else wanted to take them to their doctor's appointments, and I helped out. It was just a thing personal to do to help out your community. I'm not where I'm a senior, but my mom is, and the thing is that I feel that I liked what Kathy did. And if Tess has taken over for Kathy and has improved, and the seniors are going, that was one of the purpose to getting our community senior center. For the seniors, they fought for it, they wanted to go to the school, but the parents fought against them to go to school, so they can have their own place. Now they have their own place, who's gonna run it?
Julia.
I have a question. What was Tess's original contract for, lengthwise? Was
2
it for-
years,
How much?
2 years.
She hasn't even finished one. Why would you cut her off at this point? When she's doing a fantastic job. The seniors in town are gonna be. Curious.
Kim Wallace.
All I can say is bullshit. And I'm speechless.
Never expected.
Bill DeRoche.
I'm disgusted, period.
Yeah.
My friend in the hat, I don't know.
Andre's fault.
Andre, Paul,
I'm actually, I'm planning on zoning board,
thank you for volunteering.
absolutely, taking my classes Saturday. I'm not sure of the history, I know some of you guys, where am I gonna go, for a birthday party? No, can you guys just rethink it and
Can you please?
please, awful people. It's
At
one
least-
thing to maybe let her finish this year. It's, I can't imagine being jobless. I mean, really, just look to your heart, at least let her finish her year out. Please, put your grounds on.
Diane Grenier.
Good evening. I don't even know where to begin. I am so disappointed in the Board of Selectmen. I think this is very short-sighted, and I don't know what this is all about. I suspect that there's some underlying issues going on here. But basically, I'm just speechless and very disappointed. Thank you.
Eileen. Okay, same thing, Ann Kermay, Jerry Kermay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Kimberly Brisson.
Nothing right now, thank you.
Joanne Eber.
Just a couple comments, and I appreciate the time. I want to say to the townspeople that, I mean, obviously, we're all here and we're taking this all in. We have to understand that the Board of Selectmen held a meeting last week, and they spent over 2 hours with the community/senior center director. So I don't know what was said in the executive session, but they probably did do their due diligence and due process at that time to come to some of the conclusions that they came to. So again, I wasn't privy. I stood out in the hallway with Jerry Creme for 2 hours until he needed to leave, and then I needed to leave. It's very difficult and hard in these forums that we all volunteer in. I am on the Board of Finance. So let's just give them a little credit for having taken the time and coming to some conclusions that they came to. I would, being a person that has a heart too, and I'm not saying anybody doesn't, maybe give some kind of a timeline, for someone to prepare for something like this. So I don't know where the timeline was, but that's my only thought on that. My suggestion earlier in the evening, making or having these contracts be year to year and maybe have a little less perks if there's going to be someone that's a part-time position, I still stand by. We're not doing a disservice to someone if we offer them a 1-year contract with a 3% raise. And I mean, I didn't know the history of this salary, which has raised quite a bit. So I appreciate that being brought to the table. It's a very valuable position, the Director of Public Works or the Supervisor of Public Works. So it's nothing personal with having a one-year contract. It's just my opinion, working in HR. I just think they work well. The other thing that I wanted to say is again, and I kind of wanted to refrain from this tonight, but it was there in full force. You all do have our town administrator who represents you. And I know the Board of Selectmen, are the leaders of the town. We have a town administrator. So I would just caution him from being so one-sided in these things. And as an employee, I would appreciate a boss that is totally on my side. He needs to sit in union negotiations, which he will be doing and which was pointed out tonight. We can't come to a conclusion that these are done, set. I want to see a fair process in our town. That's what happens when I sit on both sides of the table. I take them seriously, so it's not a done deal yet that things are done. Please go through the process with an open mind. Um, Negotiate with your workers, negotiate with your union employees, but bring someone to the table who is representing the management side of things. These raises and things have come up. So that's all I want to say. This has been, it's a hard process to go through. So please, as a management representative, please bring the management side. And lastly, I just wanted to reach out to Elaine Buchart, who, I respect so much. And I don't think we have a problem with the Board of Finance versus the Board of Selectmen. If I speak out, I just speak out because that's what I do. I take my role on the Board of Finance seriously. I do a lot of research. I bring things to the table. I'm going to bring my thoughts, but I respect everybody that's there. We all have a hard job to do. So thank you for what you're doing. Those are my comments.
You, Louise Goodwin.
Yeah, I'm appalled. I don't know what to say at this point. I don't know what the next plan is. That's what I'd like to know. I'm supposed to go there tomorrow to help do a luncheon, and I have no idea what's going to happen. I used to rent property. I own property, and I used to rent it out to tenants, and like a store. And we always gave them at least a year to like prove themselves. And you didn't even give her 14 months. And she started in with hardly anything, and I've watched it through the process. I was there watching. A lot of these people, a lot of other people who were speaking were not there watching and helping. So I can't see how they can have a valid reason for doing what they did. I'm really appalled, and I'm so sorry, Tess. And I plan on coming to help you, Kim, tomorrow. So don't worry about it. I'm still there for you.
So Brian. Good? Okay. I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Who seconded that? Carol? All those in favor? Aye.